Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. In this episode, I will be talking about something that causes a lot of confusion for companies implementing ISO 9001 for the first time. And that is the difference between what ISO standard intends and what people often believe the standard is telling them to do. Many companies approach ISO as if it's a rigid rulebook, telling them exactly how to run their business. But that is so far from the truth. ISO 9001 is not designed to make every company operate the same way. It is designed to help each company build a quality management system that fits its business, its customers, its risk, its processes, and its goals. So today we're going to start with Clause 4.0, context of the organization. Segment 1, what people think Clause 4.0 means. When companies first read Clause 4.0, they often believe ISO is telling them to do quite a few things. Namely, you must create a long, complicated business analysis document. You must identify every possible internal and external issue. You must list every interested party that could ever affect the business. You must create a large SWOT analysis just to satisfy the auditor. And lastly, you must document everything in extreme detail. This is where a lot of companies go wrong. They turn Clause 4.0 into a paperwork exercise. They create documents that look impressive, but those documents do not actually help the business operate better. A company may create a long list of internal issues, external issues, interested parties, and risk, but no one uses that information. It gets filed away until the next audit. So that is not the intent of ISO 9001. Segment 2, what Clause 4.0 is really about. Okay? So the real intent of Clause 4.0 is much more practical. ISO wants the organization to understand the environment it operates in before it builds or maintains its quality management system. In simple terms, ISO is asking, what kind of company are you? What products or services do you provide? Who are your customers? What requirements must you meet? What internal and external issues could affect your ability to deliver quality? Who has expectations that matter to your quality system? And what processes are needed to consistently provide conforming products or services? That is the real purpose. Clause 4.0 is about making sure the quality system is not disconnected from the business. Your quality management system should not be something separate from daily operations. It should reflect how the business actually works. Segment 3, Clause 4.1, understanding the organization and its context. Clause 4.1 focuses on understanding internal and external issues. Some people believe this means ISO requires a formal SWOT analysis, but the standard does not specifically say that every company must use a SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis can be helpful, but is only one method. The intent is for the company to understand the factors that could affect its ability to achieve quality results. For example, internal issues may include leadership commitment, employee training, production capacity, equipment condition, process controls, company culture, communication between departments, document control, and inspection capability. Okay? External issues may include things such as customer requirements, supplier performance, regulatory requirements, economic conditions, new technology, industry competition, material shortages, changes in customer demand, certification body expectations. The purpose is not to create a huge list. The purpose is to identify the issues that can actually matter to the company's quality performance. For a manufacturing company, this may mean understanding whether the company has the right machines, trained employees, reliable suppliers, controlled processes, and inspection methods to meet customer requirements. This is the true intent. Segment 4, Clause 4.2, interested parties. Clause 4.2 talks about interested parties. This is another area where companies often overcomplicate things. Some people think they must list every possible person or organization connected to the business, But the real question is, who has requirements or expectations that can affect the quality management system? Some common interested parties may include customers, employees, suppliers, regulatory agencies, certification bodies, owners or shareholders, banks or investors, end users, the local community, outside service providers. Okay? But not every interested party has the same level of importance to the quality management system. For example, a customer's drawing requirements, purchase order requirements, and delivery expectations directly affect product quality. A supplier's ability to provide conforming material also directly affects quality. The intent is not just to name interested parties. The intent is to understand what those parties require and how those requirements affect the quality management system. For example, customers require conforming product, on-time delivery, and communication, whereas employees require training, clear procedures, and a safe working environment. Suppliers require clear purchase orders and defined specifications. Certification bodies require the company to maintain an effective quality management system. Regulators may require compliance and safety, environment, or industry-specific rules. So this is the practical side of Clause 4.2. Okay, Segment 5, Clause 4.3, the scope of the quality management system. Clause 4.3 requires the organization to determine the scope of the quality management system. Some companies think this is just a paragraph they copy and paste into a quality manual, but the scope is very important. The scope defines what the quality management system covers. It should answer the following questions: what products or services are included? What locations are included? What processes are included? What requirements apply? Are there any ISO requirements that do not apply, and why? For example, a machining company may define its scope around precision CNC machining, inspection, assembly, and delivery of customer-specified parts. A sheet metal company may define its scope around fabrication, forming, welding, hardware insertion, finishing coordination, inspection, and shipping. The intent is to clearly define the boundaries of the quality system so employees, customers, and auditors understand what is covered. The misconception is that the scope is only for the auditor. The truth is the scope helps the company understand what parts of the business must be controlled under the QMS. Okay, Segment 6, Clause 4.4, Quality Management System and its Processes. So Clause 4.4 is one of the most important parts of ISO 9001. This clause is about identifying the processes needed for the quality management system and understanding how those processes interact. Some companies believe ISO requires them to create a procedure for everything, but that is not the real intent. The real intent is for the company to understand its key processes and control them effectively. So for example, a manufacturing company key processes may include the following: order review, purchasing, receiving inspection, production planning, manufacturing, in-process inspection, final inspection, calibration, non-conforming product control, corrective action, shipping, supplier management, customer satisfaction, internal auditing, and management review. So ISO is asking the company to understand what are the inputs into each process, what are the outputs, who owns the process, and what resources are needed, as well as what risks are involved. How is the process measured, and how do processes connect? So this is where companies should stop thinking of ISO as a paperwork and start thinking of ISO as a process control. If order review is weak, the company may accept jobs it cannot properly perform. If purchasing is weak, the company may buy the incorrect material. If receiving inspection is weak, then bad material may enter into production. If calibration is weak, inspection results may not be reliable. If corrective action is weak, then the same problems may occur again. So that is the real intent of Clause 4.4. It's not about creating documents just to satisfy an auditor. It's about making sure the company understands and controls the processes that affect quality. Segment 7, practical example. Okay, let's use a simple manufacturing example. A customer sends a purchase order and a drawing for a machine part. The company must review the order, confirm it can meet the requirements, purchase the correct material, schedule production, machine the part, inspect it, package it, and ship it. Now, ISO 9001 is not telling the company exactly how to do each of those steps. ISO is saying, make sure you understand the requirements, make sure the requirements are clear, make sure the process is controlled, make sure employees are competent, make sure inspection equipment is suitable, make sure records are maintained where needed, and make sure problems are corrected when they happen. That's the intent. ISO does not run the company runs the company. ISO 9001 simply provides a framework to help the company run more consistently and effectively. Okay, segment 8, the key message here. So when we talk about clause 4.0, the key message is this. Clause 4.0 is not asking you to create unnecessary paperwork. It is asking you to understand your business, your customers, your risk, your requirements, and your processes. The intent is alignment. Your quality management system should align with the reality of your business. It should support how your company operates, how it serves customers, how it controls risk, and how it improves performance. Okay, so to close this episode, remember this. ISO 9001 is not telling your company to become complicated. It is telling your company to become clear. Clear about its purpose, clear about its customers, clear about its requirements, clear about its processes, clear about its risk, and clear about how quality is achieved. That is the true intent of Clause 4.0 context of the organization. Okay, so in the next episode, we'll continue with Clause 5.0 leadership, where we'll talk about what ISO really means in regards to top management commitment and why leadership cannot simply delegate the quality management system to the quality manager or a consultant.